Welcome to Seeking Out Sunshine. My name is Ashley, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, you're going to be joining me on a new adventure. This is the first episode in my series, How I Colored. And today we're going to be coloring a picture from the Art of Mushrooms coloring book by Hannah Konetsky. So I'm really excited to show you the process that I used for this, and let's get to it. All right, so let's discuss this mushroom page from my Creative Haven coloring book entitled The Art of Mushrooms. When I selected this page to color, I first went out to Pinterest and I found some coloring inspiration to select a color palette. And once I had that, I turned to my Ohuhu alcohol markers and my Castle Art colored pencils, and I just started selecting a range of colors that would work within that 5-color color palette. And what you will see me doing is using 3 colors for each of those colors throughout. So those 3 colors being a highlight color, a mid-tone color, and then a shadow color. So first off, you see me kind of working on the mushrooms, and I'm going in with my lightest color on that entire stem. And now I'm taking the lightest color that I picked for the underneath part of these mushrooms and going on the outside edges. This is allowing me to place down where I want the highlight of this mushroom to be. It's just easier for me when I'm working with the alcohol markers to kind of do that first and then go back in with the shadow colors. So here I'm going in with a little bit of a darker shade of that cream color and adding a little bit of shadow to that space underneath where the light isn't going to reach that mushroom as much. And this is really a new concept for me. When I used to color, I just colored pictures, I threw color on paper, and lately I've really been diving into understanding shadow and highlights more, and it's so much fun. My biggest advice would be don't overthink it, because that actually is just going to take out all of the fun. Just see where your intuition leads you, and go with it. It's a coloring page. There's always another one, so just have fun. But yes, I'm doing the same thing on these mushrooms. I decided to kind of make these in the pinkish red tone family. I think this is deep blush that I'm actually going in with right now. Kind of as that mid-tone color on the mushrooms, but I'm kind of flicking up to give so there's not so much harshness when I go to blend the lighter colors upward, and it just kind of is more seamless and natural. Now I'm working on those cute little blueberries, and again going in with the lightest shade that I picked out for my purples. So this is actually Lavender Wisp. And as I am doing that, you'll see that I'm leaving just a little bit of white on the paper. That is just going to help me get an even more dynamic highlight on those blueberries as I go into shade with pencils later. It's just going to be that extra pop of light that will be on the page. Rounding out those blueberries with the darker mid-tone color in, I believe that is Electric Indigo. And I will at the very end of this video, I will show you all of the supplies that I did use for this page. So here I'm going in on the leaves, and I'm trying to kind of figure out how I want to do these. So for the first few leaves, I'm just kind of playing and seeing what I like. And then a couple leaves in, I kind of figure out my groove and know what I want to do, and then I just kind of go to town on all of them. So I'll lay down the base color on all of the leaves, and then I will go back in and kind of put that darker shade for the shadows of just where I'm feeling that the shadows are. I'm not a shadow expert, so still, like I said, working on that, but I'm just kind of having fun and trying to think about where do I feel like the shadows are in this page. Still learning that light, how light affects objects, and working on that. But again, don't be afraid to be a beginner at something. It's fun just to kind of let your creativity and your intuition guide you and not try to overthink the whole process. Really kind of focusing on the inside of the leaf where the veins are and kind of deepening that with the darker green. And I will go over later, as you will see, with pencil just to like give that even more depth and texture on each of the leaves. You'll see as I get to that flower, I do use more of the dark green color as I'm going around, because those leaves are underneath that flower. So I know that that flower would create a shadow on top of those leaves. So I do try to mimic that with my darker color on top. All right, now I'm taking just a brown shade that I grabbed that I thought would go well with this color palette. It's not part of the 5 colors that I selected, but for the stems of those blueberries. And next I am starting on the flower, and I'm going in with my deepest red shade that I picked for this palette, and just kind of thinking about where would the depth of this flower be, and trying to create some of that with that dark color before I go in with the lighter tones. Now I'm going in with the mid-tone and finally the highlight color of those 3 colors. All right, so a lot of the alcohol marker work is now done, and I am transitioning to my colored pencils. So in this video, I'm using the Castle Art colored pencils. This is a budget-friendly color pencil, so if you're new to coloring, it's a great set. I have the 72 set, and I've been able to do lots of wonderful pages with this set. They work well in most of the coloring books that I've tried them in, so I would definitely suggest, looking into those if you're looking for a colored pencil. But they're not as soft as a Prisma. They're a little bit harder, but I do feel like they perform well, and I've been happy with them. But I'm just taking various purple colors and just kind of working them into those blueberries, trying to create a more three-dimensional look versus just the flat blueberry that's on the coloring page. So I'm just kind of, again, using my intuition of like what feels good, what feels right, what do I, how do I see this little blueberry shaping up, kind of focusing on where I left that highlight and going from there. You'll see some washi tape around some of my pencils, and that's just a little trick that I have if I'm working on a couple different pages and I need different pencils for different projects. I'll sometimes wrap the pencils in washi tape, so I know that these pencils are for this project and these pencils are for this project, and kind of keep those separated for myself so I can go back to them and find them easily without having to like have pencils all over the place. I can, keep them in the same case. So that's just a nice little tip or trick that you could use for yourself as you are working on multiple whips, because a lot of times we do that as colorists. Here I'm just going in with my greens that I selected and really deepening up those leaves to just help them look a little bit richer and more realistic. I love the way that colored pencils look on top of alcohol marker. I think it just adds so much more depth and character, and just really brings objects to life. Again, throughout this process, you'll see me try to navigate where would the shadows be. If a leaf is under a blueberry, there would be more of a shadow in that area. A leaf that is underneath the flower, more of a shadow on that side of the leaf versus the other, kind of deepening those up just to give that dimension and that appearance of the difference of how the light is hitting that leaf. Again, the coloring process hopefully is fun for you, so just let it be that. Let your creativity kind of guide you and have fun with your art supplies. I think we can get bogged down with the pressure of the finished page. I can totally relate to this. That's something I'm working on, is getting out of my perfectionist tendencies when I do things. And I have found that the pages that I just kind of let go and I free myself, I have so much fun with. And they're the moments that I enjoy the most. So if you are super nervous about completing a page, go to a coloring book that you aren't worried about, that you can just kind of test materials out and supplies out in and just have fun. And the more you allow your creativity to soar, like the more free you're going to become in your other coloring books. So find a space where you can just be free and let go of some of that pressure and see where it takes you. Okay, now I'm going in to the flower, and I'm starting with a pretty deep dark color. I believe this is a dark brown color that I'm using just to really deepen up those spaces of the petals that are overlapping one another and to give more depth on top of that deep red color. I want those petals to look individual, but that they collectively create this flower together. So it's me trying to combine those highlights and those shadows all in one. Now we're moving on to the stems of the mushrooms. Again, going in and deepening up the shadow parts, the part of the mushroom stem that's going to have a darker shadow based on kind of where I feel like the light is hitting. And I'm not going in just, it appears that I'm going in like straight up and down lines, but I'm trying to give a little bit of curve to that stem just so it doesn't look straight up and down like a straight stick line, because mushroom stems kind of curve around. So I'm trying to give that kind of more of a curved line as I go up and down. So pulling it out a little bit further at the top and the bottom than in the center of those back and forth strokes. Going in with some highlight colors on top of that mushroom, just really trying to work in and diffuse those midtones and those highlight colors, and then adding depth to that shadow. So going in with a pretty dark burgundy color on top of that deep shadow color on the mushroom, just to make the shadow stand out even more. And start small with this. You can always add more. A lot of times I'll just kind of outline the space that needs to be darker, and then I'll see, does it need a little bit more? Does it need just some flicks of, color up? What is needed? Because you can always add. It's a lot harder to take away. It is possible, but harder. Again, just lots of back and forth between the different colors until I get it to the point that I'm happy with it and feel like I'm ready to move on. And a lot of times I'll be happy with something and then I'll move on to the next space on the page or the next object. And once I get the color added to that, I realize I need to go back and just zhuzh up a few things on something else, just to kind of make them be more coherent and work together. Again, if you just allow your page to flow and allow yourself to flow with it, you'll know instinctively what you want to do. It's all about listening to yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that I hope that you are creating art for yourself and that you are allowing yourself a safe space just to give yourself time to do that. I'm just deepening up those shadows underneath the mushroom now, going in with just a few different colors, starting with the darkest color up top and then blending down to the lightest color with that light sources hitting the edges of that mushroom underneath, and then trying just to blend out where I'm using those colors. Deepening up some of those shadows on the stems. Just adding some highlight to the branches of those blueberry stems now. All right, now I'm starting the background, and for the background I'm using my King Art gel crayons. And how I am applying this is I am putting the gel crayon on a board and then picking it up with an oval makeup brush. And I have created a very small circle right there in the middle that I want it to be a lighter lavender color. And then I'm going to go out to a darker purple color. These gel crayons are wonderful for backgrounds. They make backgrounds really fast and fun. There's so many options of things that you can do with them. You can see that I'm putting the darker color on the board, and now I'm moving that onto the page. Just trying to make like a silhouette all the way around this mushroom picture. And right now I'm just going over all of those little stars that are on the page because I know that I'm going to go over them with some silver paint later. So I'm not worried about covering those up. If you are, you can always put something on top, like a covering paste, if you want to actually color them or do something different, or if the objects were bigger. Okay, it was about this time that I thought, oh, I'll go in with a darker shade for some of these corner parts. Got it on there and did not like it at all. But again, this is part of the creative process, right? You try things out. I kind of wanted it to be like this smoky woods feel. Wasn't loving it, so I actually do go in later off camera and I add some more deeper purple to that brown, and then I'm happier with that. But again, that's, like I said, that's part of the creative process. You try things out. If you don't like them, add to them, change them, and be okay that you learned something on a page. It's all good. I'm going in with my Langlo gel, acrylic gel pens now, and I'm covering lines. So on the leaves, I am covering all of the outside lines of the leaves and all of the veins. And these are the 0.6 millimeter Langlo acrylic gel pens. They are great for covering lines. So same thing with the blueberries and the mushrooms. I'm just going to be out doing all the outlining over the lines of the mushrooms, the lines of the blueberries, and I will go in with the flower too. So I'll just let you guys watch that process and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so now I'm going in for the final detail with my CSY metallic watercolor in the color Crystal Silver, and I'm just adding this to all of the little dots and the little stars that were already on the page, and adding a little bit to the inside of that flower, just for those last touches of sparkle. I love sparkle on my page, whether it's a glitter pen or some watercolor or something else, but that just puts the final touches on it for me. I am so grateful that you were here today for my first How I Colored page. Thank you for letting me show up just how I am and where I'm at in my coloring journey right now, which is at the beginning stages. I'm excited to grow with this community. I hope that you are doing things that bring you so much joy. If you want to recreate this page, I will put the supplies in the next slide, and I'm wishing you so much sunshine in your day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.